So why have human societies ended up in this situation where when we change, the whole planet changes? Well, it didn't happen all at once. It started off with the first abilities that we had to learn from each other. Our cultural capabilities enable us to live together in societies that are completely different than the societies of any other species. Our societies can learn and accumulate knowledge and change the way they grow. And we don't even know how big a human society can get because it just depends on the culture. And that, together with the fact that we are also a species of ecosystem engineers, a species like beavers that alter their environment in ways that make it more productive for them. And by doing that, right, we're shaping this human world. We also have to adapt to this human world. And we do that using our social capabilities, our social superpowers, coming together to shape the world. So you can imagine starting with just something as simple as, say, burning the landscape to make it more productive, or propagating your favorite plants or animals. These things snowball over time into processes that enable a single species, a population of a single species, to change an entire planet. It's scaled up, just as our societies have been able to scale up to shape a planet that is completely different than the one that came before us. So what does it take to really understand why humans gain the capacity to reshape the planet? And one of the most basic parts of this is to understand this process that we call runaway socio-cultural niche construction, which is a long word for the process in which human societies alter environments to make them more productive, and then adapt to these more productive environments that are created by human societies in such a way they become not only dependent on them, they get even better at making them more productive, thus leading to this runaway effect where societies transform the environments more and they can scale up. And that ultimately goes from societies that first begin changing the environment to make their favorite species more productive. That's before agriculture, but it of course leads to agriculture. And with agriculture and agricultural societies, we get industrial societies. We've just kept scaling up our societies and the capabilities we have to transform nature to support human societies. A species that is very good at transforming its environment to make it more productive for itself is able to change the world into a place it is. The planet is much more capable of supporting people. But at the same time, what's happened to the rest of life? Well, that's been the big challenge. If you look at what's going on the planet in the Anthropocene, the human age, what we're seeing is unprecedented amounts of environmental change that are leading to extinctions. It's really a dramatically transformed time on this planet that can easily be seen as a crisis. Climate change, extinctions, these are not things that anybody wants to happen. Yet, for some reason, our societies are shaping a planet that has extreme amounts of change. And the question really is this something that can be ended? Is there going to be a time in the human age where human societies don't change the planet? I don't think so. I think this is a condition that we're going to have to live with. And so the big question is, can we shape the planet for the better? The industrial world is very famous for doing the things it does do a lot of, such as deforesting huge areas of the planet. But that's not all that industrial societies do. In case you haven't been watching, we have actually been able to restore huge forests all over the world. We have reintroduced species that have been lost from their environments. Now, of course, that's correcting for past wrongs. But the idea that human societies can only destroy and they don't conserve, protect, restore, regenerate places, we're doing that more and more. And we're doing it better and better. So the idea that humans don't have the capability to shape a better future for the planet is not supported by the facts. So what is the big challenge to shaping a better future? Well, one of them is the messages we hear every day. We hear about the Anthropocene, this human age that we're creating, as just a crisis, a place where all we can do is destroy. It's a kind of message of doom. This is not what motivates people. It's a catchy thing. People around the world listen to these stories of crisis. But what motivates people to change is two things. One, you have to know that we can make a difference. We can actually change. Together, we can change the planet for the better. And the other is we have to aspire to actually do it, we have to put the power of human aspirations behind that project of making the future a better place. The idea that this is a planetary crisis makes it sound as if everybody in the world is responsible for climate change. Everyone in the world is damaging the habitats of other species, when in fact, it's not so simple. It's actually the biggest changes, the ones we're most concerned about, are caused by the largest, wealthiest, most capable societies in the world who are not taking responsibility for what they are doing. And messaging is important. If we can message everybody so that the understanding pushes toward responsibility, that makes people responsible for what they are actually doing to the planet, we have the potential to push back on those actions. If it just gets diffused to an entire planet, who's responsible? It's just a planetary problem. As the most social species ever, when we work together, we literally, our cooperation can change the world. So what does it take to actually change the world for the better? In the case of nature, one classic example is the kind of communities and relationships that we see with indigenous and traditional societies, in which relationships with the rest of nature are conceived of as a kind of big family. There's nothing that's not part of the family in these ways of thinking. When we care for each other, all of us, all the living creatures, in a way that is just the same as the way we care for each other in our family, that kind of power to socialize the world can make the world a better place.